young woman runs into trouble?
So you moved in with your grandfather.
Or does it run in the family?
He punched you?
And that's when the chokehold happened.
I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed him.
He's on parole for first-degree murder.
This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Cassandra Currier is suing her grandfather, Michael Walker, for an illegal eviction, a false restraining order, and physical abuse.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 432 on the calendar in the matter of Currier versus Walker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Currier, how old are you?
23.
What do you do for a living?
I'm unemployed at the moment.
Prior to moving in with your grandfather, who were you living with?
My mother.
For how long?
2 months.
Prior to that, where were you living?
My grandfather.
Prior to living with your mother, you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
In what month did you move into your mother's?
May 17th, 2019.
And why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She sent you to jail for... She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
False accusations of domestic violence.
Domestic violence.
Correct.
Now, prior to living with your mother, you say you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
Where were you living with your grandfather?
Tustin, California.
And why did you leave to go to your mother's house?
There was issues within the household between all of us, or betwixt all of us.
Well, not all of you. There was you and your grandfather. Who else?
And my mother. She moved in. She lost her house.
But then she moved out and you moved with her.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
After your mother had you arrested, and you stayed with him until when?
From July 7th to July 19th.
Of 2019.
Correct.
You're suing him for an illegal eviction. Is that the eviction that you're talking about in July of 2019?
No, ma'am.
What eviction?
The eviction that took place on December 20th.
So you moved in with your grandfather just for a short period of time, 7/7 to 7/19, and then you left.
In between.
And where did you go?
In between that time, we moved on July 24th to a house in 29 Palms.
Who was working?
No one.
Who was paying the rent?
My grandfather.
Okay.
We bought a house with the VA loan.
And you moved in together then on 7/24, so you moved in with your grandfather. Were you paying any of the expenses?
Yes.
What expenses?
Cell phone, car
that's
payment.
your cell phone. What house expenses were you paying?
None.
None. Okay, so you were a guest in his house. Look at me. So you were a guest in your grandfather's house.
Incorrect.
Like if I invited one of my grandchildren to come and move in.
The only...
just a second. One of my grandkids said to me, "Can I come and stay with you, Nana?" And I said, "Sure." And then they got sassy or nasty or did something I didn't like, and I said, "Pack up and go." You think that that's an illegal eviction?
No, he can only have me living with him. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Just a second. I didn't ask you that. I know that you wanted to get that in there. But what I'm asking you is, you lived there, you weren't working, and you were paying no expenses. So you were living as a guest in your grandfather's house.
Correct.
Well, then he can't illegally evict you.
The only reason he can live in this house is because of me. It's on his parole.
Who cares?
I care.
What? Well, I don't care. The law doesn't care. You may care, but the law doesn't care. You're a guest in his house. He's paying the expenses on the house. You're living with him, and if something happens, and he says to you, "I don't want you to live here anymore, goodbye, pack up and leave," that's what you have to do. You're a guest, and if a parole board wants to come after him for that, that's their prerogative. That has nothing to do with you. Where did you move to?
My car.
When was the last time you had a real job?
May 17th.
When you were living with your mother?
Yes and no. That was the last day that I left from my job. It was Robert Half International. I was working there for March to May.
For 3 months?
Correct. Before that, I was a general manager for 2 years, House of Pokey.
Well, why don't you have a job now?
It's been difficult as far as living in my car for the longest time. I did have a job. I signed paperwork, submitted it. I was under the impression that I was going to be getting paid $3,000 a month for a shipping and receiving clerk. And when it came to February 14th, I was supposed to receive my first check. Didn't hear back from anybody.
Just a minute, a shipping and receiving of what?
Clerk.
Did you work for somebody?
I did.
And you worked for them and you didn't get paid?
No.
In February?
No, ma'am.
Do you know why?
No one's responded.
Who is this?
This is Christopher.
No, you don't have to get up.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is he?
A friend. He's allowing me to stay at his house.
Where?
Pomona.
Okay, so you're not living in your car anymore.
Not since December 27th.
Oh, well, that's great. Nice of you.
Ma'am.
So you're staying with him?
Correct.
And looking for work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. The last part of your lawsuit, because he doesn't owe you for an illegal eviction, he filed a restraining order to keep you out of the house because you evidently didn't want to leave. You have a punitive damage for physical abuse. You want to tell me about that?
Yes, so it started on November 17th of 2019.
November 17th,
Yes.
2019.
Yeah, at around 9 a.m.
And what happened?
There was an altercation that had occurred betwixt my grandfather and I, resulting in him putting me in a chokehold and putting his hands on me, physically abusing me.
No, that's two different things. Putting you in a chokehold, and you made a punching motion. Now, is that what he did? He punched you?
He did.
Do you have any photographs of injuries?
I do not.
Okay. And what was the argument about?
Over me touching the electrical box to the house.
What do you mean touching the electrical box? Explain it.
The house that we had bought was...
No, you didn't buy it together. He bought it. You had no money. You had no job. He got a VA
Correct.
loan. And the fact that he may need someone to live with him right now, he's here and nobody's taking him into custody because you're not living with him, okay? So I want you to get that windshield wiper that out of your head. What do you mean touching the electrical box?
I was trying to figure out why our well pump was receiving water to produce ice,
And?
as well as filtered water to the sink, and I have a video of that.
And?
It resulted in me taking a loose wire from the floor. When I picked it up, it sparked, so the next move I made was went to the electrical box to turn off the power, thus not getting a spark anymore. He was upset at the fact that I'm not an electrician, so I should mind my own business in that department.
Okay. So he said to you, don't do that. Don't touch anything that you don't know anything about. You're not an electrician. And what did you say to him?
I didn't say anything, and that was an issue to him, that I wasn't responding.
Go ahead.
So I went to, when I turned around, he blocked my path, so I couldn't exit out the front door.
And?
I went underneath his arm to escape, and that's when the chokehold happened.
You want to tell me your version of that event on the 17th, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I was on the ground underneath the tractor, working on the tractor. I heard an electrical explosion, and I heard her say, "Oh!" I came out from under the tractor. I thought she'd been electrocuted. And she was standing near the well pump, and there was evidence of a large spark. She had tried to attach a 240-volt wire to ground. I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm trying to find out water, Your Honor." She was confused. So she went in. She said, "Which one of these breakers turns off the pump?" I said, "Leave it alone. It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. Leave the pump alone."
Incorrect. I didn't ask him.
Don't speak. He didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
So she went to the electrical box and she turned a breaker off that said pump on it. It's a little wrong pump, not the pump that she was messing with. And then she started heading back out to the pump. And I did stand in her way, and I was not going to let her go back out to the pump. And she charged me. And she went under me and knocked me backwards out the door. If I had not grabbed onto her, I would have landed on my back on the rock walkway. And I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed her.
Did you punch her?
No, I did not.
I don't believe that either. When's the next incident of assault?
Okay, I also have November 15th.
And what happened on November 15th?
There was an animal abuse, and what I'm referring to is a dog that that was under our care for Rover.com. It's a dog sitting business. He overdosed her for 3 counts. Instead of giving her 3 cc's of insulin, he gave her 30. And unfortunately, she had multiple seizures and died.
What does that have to do with you?
Well, that's a part of abuse.
Next.
November on my grandfather.
Tell me what happened.
Correction, December 12th.
Go ahead.
So my grandfather had, the first event was he called the police department and filed a false accusation that I had stolen a cell phone worth $1,000 of his. So when I arrived back from the Sprint store that day, he held out his phone to me, and there was an officer that stated he was going to be arresting me on a felony charge for this cell phone. The reason how this cell phone came into play was the altercation betwixt my grandfather and I of him laying his hands on me. Later that night, I threatened to call his parole officer because of this abuse.
Well, just a second. You gave me two instances that happened November 15th that happened with a dog. It had nothing to do with you. Then you told me about November 17th, when you got into a family dispute because you were touching his property and he grabbed hold of you. Did not punch you. You don't have any evidence of that. So you're still living in the same house.
Correct.
Right? So now we're talking about almost a month later.
Yes. That next incident was the cell phone.
And you were living in his house for that month.
Correct.
Next.
Judge Judy.
For an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start.
And later today.
Tell me what happened.
It was after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12.
Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Cassandra Courier says her grandfather, Michael Walker, evicted her by way of a false restraining order. She also claims her grandfather physically abused her.
Okay. Ms. Courier, I'm going to suggest that you're a young woman, you're 23 years old, you're unemployed. I'm going to suggest to you that you have somebody who appears to be a nice person. He's letting you live in his house while you look for a job, okay? Finding a particular job isn't always easy, but finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start. Do you work?
Not currently right now, ma'am. I'm going to school.
And who takes care of you?
I'm at my parents' house currently.
So she's living with you and your parents. Enough of this case. Thank you. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel threatened for my life.
I didn't owe my granddaughter anything. I was trying to help her.
The physical abuse of living with somebody who did 30 years.
She ran up $14,000 on my credit cards. I had to take my credit cards away from her.
I want to live my life.
I still love her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Rogers versus Robinson. Step forward.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Mr. Rogers, the defendant and you had a relationship for a period of time. That didn't work out. While you were involved in this relationship, you had some property at her house, clothes and other things. Did you live together?
No, I spent a lot of nights at her house.
So
days.
you had things there?
Yeah.
And it is your allegation that when you went to retrieve some of that property, there was an altercation which resulted in you having a broken foot.
Yes.
And that Miss Robinson is responsible for that.
Yes.
So I see your foot is in a boot.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when this happened.
This happened, it was like 1st of November.
So what happened on November?
I wanted to pick up some items from her house, so...
What items?
House shoes, clothing, toothbrush.
What time did you call her?
It was approximately around 8:30 p.m.
Did you speak to her?
Yes. I spoke with her on the telephone, telling her I was on my way.
You told her you were on your way, you didn't ask. So far, is that correct that he called and said,
No,
"I'm
that's
on
not
my
exactly
way"?
what happened, no.
Well, tell me what happened.
Okay. Mr. Rogers have a very bad habit of...
Don't tell me what has
It was
happened.
after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12, actually.
Hold on a second. Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Oh, okay, because he typically comes by really late at night.
What I'm telling you was,
Okay.
That's what you said
Okay.
in your
Okay.
answer.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection that it wasn't midnight?
It seemed like it was a lot later, but that's what I said.
Okay, and go ahead.
Okay, and so at that time I didn't want to open the door, not without somebody being an attendant or something like that. So I offered to call my sister to be there, but he didn't want that. So I never opened the door for Mr. Rogers. I let him ramp and rave outside. So at this point in time, I did not want to let Mr. Rogers in, which he intentionally gets mad and takes the mailbox off the house and threw it, and then threw some garbage cans and some other stuff. So when I heard him do the detain it, I didn't know until the next day. I didn't know until the next day that he's supposed to be hurt his leg.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have a broken foot.
At first, when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and they told me that my insurance
Don't tell me what they told you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Now, why didn't you just give him his things?
Because prior to this, Mr. Rogers, once before, and this time, maybe that's why I got this mixed up, Your Honor, is because then it was 11 to 12 o'clock at night. The officers could tell you, because he called the officers on himself to come get a saw, and it was about 12 o'clock at that time at night, and I explained to them I wasn't going to open my door, and after speaking with Mr. Rogers, they saw why I would not open my door, and then I proceeded to get him his saw at that point in time, but he likes to wait till these...
With the police officer?
Yes.
But you had other things that were in the house. Clothes, shoes.
Right, and at that time, I could not locate these things and hand them to them.
Who's they?
The officers, because they stood at the door for me while I get those things. The second time, I just didn't open the door at all.
So the second time, which is on November 1st, when he came to the house, you didn't open the door at all?
No, Your Honor. I opened the chasing door. It's like a storm.
Who did you go there with?
A friend of mine drove me around there.
A friend drove you there?
Yeah.
Where is he?
He couldn't make it because of work.
What do you do for working, Mr. Rogers?
Well, I'm a direct salesman. I walk through the city selling socks, T-shirts, boxers. I have a large clientele of people. Everybody know me in the metro area.
What metro area?
Milwaukee. And I distribute to everybody.
You sell things on the street?
Yes. Directly.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see your medical records, sir.
This is what I have because...
no, I'd like to see your medical records. That's what this case is about.
Here you are.
Sir, I don't see that you went to the doctor's office or a hospital either November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd, November 4th, November 5th, November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, November 11th, November 12th, November 13th, November 14th, November 15th, November 16th.
There's an explanation for that, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
When I went on the second, my United Care health insurance had elapsed. So I just come out of Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which was...
Sir, I can't help you without medical records. I can't help you with that. I have to see a doctor who saw you either that day or the next day or the next day. If you have a broken foot, you have a doctor who sees you, who was reported, it's not helping you.
Judge Judy, okay, at first when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and when I went the second, they told me that my insurance
Don't tell me what they told you.
Right, and so I went later.
What date later?
I went on the 19th.
Goodbye, Mr. Rogers. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Why does our excuse you to step out?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She totally pushed me down.
How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes? You did, in fact, punch her.
Next Judge Judy.
My foot is broke. It didn't get broken any other time after the fact.
I always knew that she was going to see through it.
I went backwards after handing me my stuff, and all my weight landed on my foot.
I did hear something outside, but that's what he does. He's an actor.
She's just got a feisty way when she's upset.
Don't come knocking.
A tenant's move-out went by the book.
At the end of the walkthrough, I said, is everything okay? He said, everything looks fine.
Then the landlord rewrote the rules.
I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Did you point out any problems to her?
No, I didn't.
You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid.
This is Judge Judy. Val McLemore says her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, are wrongfully withholding her security deposit.
Judge, this is case number 60 on the calendar in the matter of McLemore versus Saldias. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss of the defendants for 3 years. That's what I read.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this a private house?
Yes, it was.
How large a home was it?
2 bedrooms, 1 bath. It was fairly small.
And where do the defendants live? Do they live close by or far away?
Well, I don't know exactly where they live, but as far as I know, Oildale.
About how far is that from the rental property?
About maybe 15 miles.
And the first year that you lived there, you had a 1-year lease?
Yes, ma'am. And after that, there was
and then
we were just on a 30-day.
It converted to a month-to-month.
Right.
You want your security deposit back?
Yes, ma'am.
You lived there for 3 years. According to you, you paid your rent on time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a $900 security deposit. You were supposed to get it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do a walkthrough at the end of your lease?
Yes, ma'am. I did a walkthrough with Mr. Saldias.
Mr. Saldias, did Miss McLemore and you conduct a walkthrough at the termination of her lease?
I conducted a quick walkthrough, and I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
I don't care whether it was quick or took 24 hours. Did anything prevent you from having a longer walkthrough?
Well, at that time, I had received a call from my wife that stated that they were ready to turn over the keys. So I took a drive to that side of town and did a quick walkthrough with them and told them I would be...
Listen, Saldias, understand this. I asked you, anybody prevent you from doing a longer walkthrough?
No.
And when you did the walkthrough with the plaintiff, did you point out any problems to her?
Well, there were some obvious issues.
No, I want you to... I don't care whether there are obvious issues. I asked you whether you told or wrote down anything that you found that was a damage, whether you either told her verbally or wrote down someplace on that date, the date of the walkthrough, any negative thing that you found. Let's start quickly. Did you write it down?
No, I didn't.
Well, you're a landlord. You're supposed to write it down and give her a copy of the walkthrough.
I didn't know that was due at that particular moment. I thought there was 30 days that...
Well, what did you tell her that you found that was wrong with the house?
Well, I sent her an itemized list.
What did you tell her that I'm going to believe? When did you send her an itemized list? The question is when. Date.
When they vacated, there was an itemized list. Let me pull it here.
Give me the date that you sent her an itemized list. They vacated the last day in March. Is that correct?
Correct.
What date did you send her an itemized list?
4/20/2020.
Well, 4/20 is 3 weeks later. Had she already? Of course you did. Right. And after she made a demand for her security back, you said, well, this is what I found wrong. My question to you, Mr. Saldias, is on the date of the walkthrough, which was what date?
I believe it was around the 12th of the month.
12th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, Mr. Saldias, is over a month later, you sent her a list of things that you found wrong. You didn't tell her anything on March 12th when you did the walkthrough.
I asked him. At the end of the walkthrough, I said, is everything okay? He said, everything looks fine. I said, well, how long will it be before I get my security deposit back? And he said, should be 2 or 3 days, shouldn't be long at all. Well, I waited 3 weeks before I made a phone.
Just a second. Mr. Saldias, I want you to be very careful with your answer to me. Do you remember Miss McLemore saying to you, does everything look okay?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that? That's a question.
I don't remember that specific wording, but...
I want to tell you something. Before you start fumfering around, I have a radar back here. When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay?
There were some items there that Miss McLemore, as being the roommate that was there when we rented to her, had pointed out to me. There's, and I've got evidence of that, of some of the repairs that needed to take place.
I don't care whether there were any repairs that had to take place. You're the landlord. I asked you a simple question. Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay? When can I get my security back? And you said 2-3 days.
At that time.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. At that time.
Okay.
He actually gave me a hug.
Just a second. So now you remember
Judge Judy,
it.
they weren't bad tenants, but at the time that they were leaving, the yard wasn't done. I have pictures to show you. It cost us money to get those things done.
Just a second. If you are alleging that between the 12th and the time they moved out, which was the end of March, they caused some sort of damage to the property, I will look at that. Do you understand? I will also look at the bills that it took.
The other thing I'd like to point...
remedy whatever they did.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to point out is...
So now...
From the time that they provided the 30-day notice and the time that they vacated, they didn't pay me for that month of rent.
Just a second. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay. Right now, I'm talking about damage. Then I'm going to get to the 13 days that you are alleging they should pay you for because they gave you 30-day charge them for that rent. I'll get to that in a minute, Mr. Saldias.
Okay.
I want to see photographs of what you allege is the damage that they left when they left and receipts to fix it.
First off, there was I didn't notice it on the initial walkthrough, but there was window screens that were missing. I found 2 of them located in the garage that were beyond repair. There was a total of 4 of them. This is the cost to get those items repaired.
That's a problem for you.
Okay.
You should have noticed it. Take the statement, which I don't buy anyway. Next.
That is the 30-day. They could have never done the walkthrough on the 12th.
Next.
This is the 30-day that she provided, which clearly shows the date, and she could not have done the walkthrough on the 12th. If you see the documents dated the 13th, and that's in her handwriting.
Oh, okay, so that's the 13th. So yeah, I asked you, what date did you do the walkthrough?
Do you remember?
After. It was
I asked you what... Just a second. Do you understand? The first thing I asked you for was damages. I'm going to see what are the damages. First thing is nonsense. I don't even believe that receipt. Next, damages, pictures, and bills.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Here, let me get to the pictures.
That's what I would like to see.
Also,
and then the bills.
Also, the plaintiff alleged that we had rented the premises because a friend of mine allowed us to...
Don't try to get me off track. I don't get off track.
Well, no, but that picture also displays...
Show me the damage that you are alleging.
In this photograph of the backyard, you can note the height of the yard. And as you know, grass doesn't grow that quick in 2 weeks.
So far, you owe them $900. Now we're going to get to your friend's trailer. What's your friend's name?
Gonzalez.
Where does he live?
In Bakersfield.
How long has he had this trailer?
At the time, he had just purchased it.
Just a second. At what time?
At the time that it's...
Month. Mr. Saldias, you'll never get where I'm going. When did he purchase it? Month.
March.
I don't want you to say anything.
Okay.
Unless I'm looking at you and asking you a question. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go back to Mr. Saldias. He purchased the trailer in March, correct? Is that what your wife just told me?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When did you find out that he had purchased the trailer?
Well, the date that he placed the trailer there is when he had purchased it.
That's not what he told me.
So he purchased it... Just a second. Please don't help me. So far, you're winning, right? So far?
So far.
He purchased it the same day you put it in the house.
Yes, he called me and he said he had purchased...
Because...
He had purchased a trailer and I asked him... He said, hey, can I put it on a house that's on Chester, that's available, and it would do me a favor so that the premises looked occupied. But he never took...
Great, that's what you told me. Just a second. That's what you told Mr. Gonzalez.
That is correct.
Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Now, how good a friend is Mr. Gonzalez?
Pretty good friend.
How good?
I mean, good enough to have done that favor for me. He didn't have to do it, you know.
He wasn't doing you a favor. You were doing him a favor.
Well, I mean...
Don't listen to me. You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid and that...
I by no means think that you're stupid.
Very good. So he wasn't doing you a favor. You were either doing him a favor or charging him to park his trailer in the house.
Now,
which one is it? And then give me Mr. Gonzalez's...
Now you're
Then give me his phone number.
Now you're speculating, but...
Then give me his phone. Now give me Mr. Gonzalez's phone number.
Do you have a pen ready?
I do.
661.
You want to check that in your phone to make sure before I waste my time calling him?
Oh, there's no need to waste your time.
That's the right number?
You'll find that it's correct.
Very good. Terrific. I don't believe you want to check your phone?
He's a good enough friend
Check
that
your
I know
phone.
his number, so.
That's the right number.
You have another number for him?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is Mr. Gonzalez's trailer still parked at the house?
No.
When did it move? Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
And later today.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that day?
I did not
Is not
realize-
an answer. The answer is either a car had insurance or it didn't have insurance.
Val McLemore is suing her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, for the return of her security deposit.
Okay, is Mr. Gonzalez's trailer still parked at the house?
No.
When did it move?
Asking you.
Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I know that it was moved off when the new tenants took possession.
When did the new tenants take possession?
May 1st.
Now back to Mr. Saldias. When did move his trailer?
I don't remember the specific date.
Well, you started to say when the new tenant moved. Oh, look at me. That would be May 1st, because nobody wants to rent a house and pay rent when you have a huge trailer sitting there.
And nobody wants to squat in a house that believes there's people living in it as well.
You owe her security deposit. You may make a whole bunch of excuses. You can't make excuses here. She lived there for 3 years. You told her she would get her security deposit, and then you made up a whole bunch of excuses not to give it to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900.
Your Honor,
that was your security deposit, correct?
Correct.
I'm not speaking to you. Correct?
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I guess she found what she was looking for.
All my life, I've never, ever had to give back a security deposit.
I did a quick walkthrough at that time. I didn't really look at everything.
There was no rush. He was in no rush.
I wish everybody the best.
Bring your case to Judge Judy. She'll get him.
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Maxwell. Step to the podium, please.
James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Mr. Smith, this was an automobile accident that occurred in a parking lot on the 9th of September of this year.
Yes, ma'am. The 9th of September
The 9th.
this year.
What time of the day, sir?
It must have been about late afternoon, between 5:30 and 5.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car were you driving, sir?
A Nissan Frontier, 2019.
Which you had full coverage on, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you allege that the accident was caused by Mr. Maxwell's negligence.
Yes, ma'am.
Your insurance paid for it. We're going to find out why. But you had a $1,000 deductible, which came out of your pocket to fix the damage.
Yes.
Mr. Maxwell said that the accident was your fault. He didn't have any major damage to his vehicles, which is why he is not counterclaiming. Mr. Maxwell, what kind of car were you driving?
2008 Toyota Avalon.
Who owns that car?
My girlfriend, Debbie Antu.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that date?
I did not
Is
realize...
not an answer. The answer is either the car had insurance or it didn't have insurance.
No, ma'am. It had lapsed a couple days before.
Always a couple of days before. The check got lost in the mail. The dog ate the bill. The child flushed it down the toilet. There's always a reason. So you were driving your girlfriend's uninsured car.
Correct.
That's going to make my job a whole lot easier. What was your girlfriend driving?
My girlfriend had just had shots in her neck. That's the reason I was driving.
Was she in the car with you?
She was.
Mr. Smith, I was coming from Stater Brothers, and I was on my way to exit a parking lot, and I had some people in front of me that was shoppers, so I had to wait till they clear before I make my right-hand turn. And Mr. Maxwell, without paying attention...
Okay, so you were parked in a space, but people were walking in front of you.
No, I wasn't parked. I was already ready to make my right-hand turn. I was already out the...
You mean out of the... You were going out of the parking lot.
I was
Do
trying
you have
to...
a diagram to show me?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see where your car was.
Okay.
That would be helpful to me. So I didn't understand it
My car was right here, like through an orange
Had
spot.
been parked where?
It was parked getting ready to make the right turn in front of Stater Brothers.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He hit me, Your Honor.
No, he can't have hit you on the side of his car unless it was snowing and he skidded into you. He skidded into you sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Okay, Mr. Smith, had your car been parked in the parking lot?
Yes, it has.
Show me which spot is this.
Parking spot right here.
Okay, so you pulled out of
Yes.
the parking spot and you were ready to exit the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Maxwell.
And is there just a second, is what you're telling me the defendant was parked right opposite you and he backed out into your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have photographs of the damage to your car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Okay. Now point out where the damage was.
Rear end to the rear end tire, right below, right here. When you open the door,
I
by the
see.
rear tire.
Okay, on the side of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
On the driver's side of the car.
But the passenger back by the rear tire.
Yes, I understand. Okay. Any other photographs you want me to see?
If you want to see the whole car, yes, ma'am, I do. I actually got a better picture of where the damage is by the wheel. By here, you can see.
Okay, so according to you, the defendant pulled out of the spot. His back bumper went into your driver's side, but the passenger door.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the bill that you got to fix the car showing the $1,000 deductible that you had to pay?
Yes, ma'am.
$2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And your deductible was $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. After this accident happened, according to what I read, the defendant got out of the car. You got out of the car. Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, it's changed insurance information so I could get my automobile fixed.
And he gave you insurance information.
That was no good. Yes.
I know, I got it. But
Yes.
he gave you an insurance card.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you called to the police station, Mr. Maxwell?
No, I was not.
Well, how did you provide him with a corrected alleged insurance?
The police called me.
After the accident. Okay. So the police called you.
Correct.
And then it was determined that you had no insurance.
Right.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the damage to your car, you say, was on the rear bumper.
Correct. And that was done prior to us owning the vehicle.
So there was absolutely no damage to your car?
Correct. Not from this
Okay.
incident.
Okay. And what part of your car hit the plaintiff's car?
I have no idea.
You have no
The
idea.
damage that he...
You don't drive around in a car without liability insurance. Do you understand?
He hit me, Your Honor.
Liability. No, he can't have hit you on the side of his car unless it was snowing and he skidded into you. He skidded into you sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
If you
in
look at the
California
damage done
in
to
September.
his car, it does not look like my car could have done that damage. If you look at the close-up dents, there's no way that bumper could have done that damage. I have pictures showing.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done here. Out. Don't drive a car without insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
What happened after you made the last payment?
Told me the car was gone and then hung up the phone.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing, no.
No, there's something wrong with you. What did you do with the money?
Next Judge Judy.
He also told me he was in an accident 2 weeks prior.
The only damages I have is what he put on my truck.
I feel that the dents were done 2 weeks prior to that.
Don't drive without insurance or you'll pay later.
An ex-husband's breakdown.
The leg.
An ex-wife's rescue.
I gave him the money, and he got it fixed.
Sounds like a very friendly divorce.
Well, we were friendly then.
Now, does she want her money?
Everything started going downhill once she found out I had a girlfriend.
Or revenge?
I think you're pulling my leg, Miss Fernandez. I think that this is a judicial leg pulling.
This is Judge Judy. Clarice Fernandez is suing her ex-husband, Manuel Fernandez, for unpaid loans and his portion of their children's school supplies and Christmas gifts.
Yeah, this is case number 28 on the calendar in the matter of Fernandez versus Fernandez. Both parties have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Ms. Fernandez, you and Mr. Fernandez had been married for 20 years. You have one child together. Mr. Fernandez had another child, and after your separation, you kept custody of both children.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yes.
And you were divorced in February of 2019.
Correct.
Your claim has several parts to it. I'm advising you I'm only entertaining one of those claims. You have a claim for participation in Christmas presents, in school supplies, and in clothes for the children after the divorce. Now, you have a judgment of divorce that provides for support for the child that is his?
Yes.
Is he currently paying that order that was agreed to by the two of you by stipulation or agreement in the divorce?
We agreed when we divorced.
Good. Then the part of your claim that I will hear, Ms. Fernandez, is your claim of a loan. And that you said was a loan that took place in October after the divorce that you made to him. You want to tell me about that loan?
His car needed to be repaired, so he wanted to borrow money for that, and I let him borrow money for that.
Well, this was a car that he had when you
correct.
divorced?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Chevy Trailblazer SUV.
Was that purchased during the marriage?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, so tell me how he came about to ask you for this loan.
Well, when we went to Vegas and the whole...
Just a second. You went to Vegas. What date?
It was in September 2019.
September 20th. You went to Vegas. Did the children go with you?
The children went.
So the four of you went to Vegas?
Yes.
Where did you stay?
In the Tahitian Resort and Village in Vegas.
And you used the Chevy because it was a larger car to travel in?
Yes.
Is that why you used the older car?
Yes.
Had you been on long trips with that car before?
Yes.
When immediately prior to this trip in September did you use that car?
So we took him maybe in June or July to Knoxbury Farm.
Sounds like a very friendly divorce.
Well, we were friendly then.
It sounds like a very friendly divorce.
Okay, you can say it's that.
Okay, so now the car has problems shortly after the trip that the family took to Vegas?
Well,
Tell me about this alleged
It actually
loan.
broke down when we were there. And we took it to a place, and I forgot what it needed to be fixed, but whatever it was going to be a lot, like the alternator, or I don't know, he probably knows what it's called. But it was going to take like 10 days, and we couldn't stay that long, so the guy told us just leave early, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, and drive slow, and it should be fine till we made it back to San Diego, so that's what we did. And then when we came back, he needed money to get the car fixed, so I let him.
Well, tell me about it. I want to hear about it. You came back with the children.
He just asked me if I had money or I could put on my credit card for him. I told him that I can...
Well, who paid for the hotel when you were away in Vegas?
I think I put it on my
hotel?
card, but he agreed to pay me money for that as well.
Well, did he?
No.
Well, Miss Fernandez, I think you're pulling my leg, Miss Fernandez. I think that this is a judicial leg pulling. So you don't think he paid you back from putting the hotel on your credit card. But you're not suing him for that. You're suing him for Christmas presents.
Well, I'm suing him for...
School supplies in September and money that you put on your credit card. Where do you live, Mr. Fernandez?
In El Cajon, California.
And who do you live with?
My girlfriend.
And when did you start to have this girlfriend?
2013.
What month? Just a sec. Don't speak.
I'm not good with dates, but I'm pretty much sure what she just said, 2013. That's when everything started going downhill once she found out I had a girlfriend.
Well, when do you think she found out you had a girlfriend?
Actually, she found out this year, maybe about like 5 months ago.
2020?
2020, yes.
How did she find out?
From my young daughter.
Now, when you went away together to Vegas or to Knott's Berry Farms, she didn't have that information. Is that what you're telling me?
You're correct.
How long have you been living with your girlfriend?
For about almost a year. I kept it a secret.
I don't think it was a year. I think he was out of the house August 1st, 2018, and then I never knew where he lived after that. So it's 2 years in August.
Well, when you went away with him on these family vacations, didn't you ask him where he was living?
He told me he was living with his brother.
And you believed him?
I believed him.
Yeah. So now let's get back to this loan to have the car fixed. I'm waiting. You have to tell me about a contract.
We didn't have a contract. He signed a little, like a little receipt that I gave him because I wanted to make sure he was going to pay me the money back.
I'd like to see that. I don't know what that is.
It's a receipt, and it just says that I gave him a loan.
I see that it's a receipt. Tell me about signing this receipt. Did you sign a receipt from her?
To be honest, Judge, I don't remember signing a receipt.
What I'd like you to do is, Officer Bird's going to give you a piece of paper. I'd like you to sign your name.
Okay.
He didn't sign it, he initialed it. Sometimes
Hey, don't speak. Sign your name, sir.
Would you like me to sign it or initial it?
Yeah, I would like you to do both. Would you put it up there? Thank you. Now I'd like to see her piece of evidence again. Yeah, he never signed that. He never signed that. That's not anything that he signed. You want to tell me, sir, your version of this money for the repair of your car?
I do recall the repair. It was a long trip that weekend. We went to Knott's Berry Farm, and then we also took the kids to Las Vegas. Going up there, I felt the transmission skipping gears, so I told my ex-wife, is there something wrong with the SUV? Once we get to Las Vegas, we was going to get it checked out. Once I determined that it was a transmission and it was going to cost an arm and a leg, and we just didn't have the money at the time, we did drive it back to San Diego. Asked Miss Clarice if she can help me pay for the SUV. She did agree on it, and I just assumed that I already paid my portion for that transmission. And
how did you do that?
I actually took it out my credit card.
Well, show me.
I don't have no receipt.
And I need a bill for the transmission.
The receipt that she just showed you, that's from the transmission place.
No, it isn't. What's the name of the place that did the transmission work?
Dean.
What's the name of the place that... Just a second. Ms. Fernandez, what's the name of the place that did the transmission work?
I didn't take the car. I didn't get the receipt for it. I gave him the money, and he did it. So I don't know where the place was. All I know is I gave him the money, and he got it fixed.
What's the name of the place where you had your transmission fixed?
The transmission place is Jesus Transmission, and it was in Spring Valley, California. And it took over almost like 4 weeks. I just don't have the receipt. I did not bring the receipt with me, ma'am.
Well, we can get that. Jesus Transmission? Is that the name of the place?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken your car there before?
No, ma'am. A mechanic at my job recommended that place for me.
Was it a big place or a small place?
It's a small place, ma'am.
Jesus Transmissions?
Yes, ma'am. That's the sign that was on the gate.
And where are they located? In what city?
It was in Spring Valley, California.
Okay. Now, Ms. Fernandez, where did you get the $1,500 from?
No. I didn't print my bank statement.
Well, why don't we get one? Just to show me where you withdrew $1,500. That would be a good idea to have, right?
Right.
Because that happened in October of 2019, right?
Right.
Great. And what bank was that you took the money out of?
It's either Navy Federal or San Diego County Credit Union.
Oh, that's easy enough to get. Why don't we recall this case and you get that for me?
Okay.
Okay? All I need is the page from either bank which indicates that in October of 2019, you withdrew at one time $1,500. And I will assume that once you have that, that is what you gave to Mr. Fernandez. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. We'll recall. Thank you. Bye.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Did I miss something? Did I see either one of those two dogs attacking a goat on that video?
That's my gate, and they are walking back.
I see them, but I didn't see them attacking anything.
But I have evidence of that.
Well, show me.
In a case recalled from earlier today, Clarice Fernandez claims ex-husband Manuel Fernandez owes for loan.
Recall the case number 28 in the matter of Fernandez versus Fernandez. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
Thank you, Bird. Ms. Fernandez, you were going to produce for me a statement that in October you made a withdrawal for $1,500.
I couldn't find it. I think it was from my Capital One. I don't use the card anymore. The card's been closed, so I wasn't able to get that information.
Well, then I can't help you.
Okay.
Because I'm having some veracity issues.
Okay.
So
well, it seems like you don't want to help me anyways.
No, I do want to help you if you have.
No, you don't want to.
You
don't want to hear the other things that we agreed upon. So that's what I was bringing him to court for, not just a loan.
No, I don't. You have a judgment of divorce. He has an obligation pursuant to that judgment of divorce with regard to payments to you that, according to you, he was living up to. And he is paying child support. So courts don't do that. They don't get involved in, I will pay for half the pencils and half the writing paper and half the books and a Christmas present if you buy. We don't do that. We'd be in business 24/7. Now, if there was a legitimate loan between you and your ex-husband with whom you clearly vacationed with your children after your divorce, I don't know what else. But clearly, at least according to you, away on extended vacations where you all stayed together. So it sort of tests veracity that there was a loan of $1,500 that you can produce nothing but a receipt that clearly he did not sign.
He did sign it.
No, I say he didn't sign it.
Okay, you can say whatever you want. That means it's true.
Okay. All I asked you for was to get a statement that you withdrew $1,500, and then I can determine if I believe it was a loan or two people who were still involved after a 20-year relationship, and you were away on a holiday with your children and the car broke down. So if you cannot produce that document for me, I'm going to dismiss your case without prejudice. You can go back to small claims court once you produce that document.
And they'll take care of it, and I'll get what I'm supposed to get.
And I'm sure that somebody else will when they have the proper proof of the $1,500, so you can have this tape, will entertain the rest of your case. We're finished. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I agreed to the lower child support because he was going to help me with our son.
I haven't missed a payment since she took me to court.
Which he has not done.
Everything is on time. Child support, spousal support, so.
And then we agreed that he was going to pay for his daughter's expenses because his daughter lives with me.
She could say what she wants to say.
Him for her.
Ever since she found out about the girlfriend.
Once I realized he had a girlfriend, that's when
things kind of like went downhill between us.
He doesn't want to pay me what he needs to pay me.
Just want to be good parents to the kids and see my kids when I can.
I'll see him back in court.
All parties in the matter of Carrasco Tapia versus Cruz. Step to the podium, please.
Stephanie Carrasco Tapia is suing her neighbor, Eva Cruz, for vet bills and the cost of 2 goats she claims were attacked and killed by Eva's dogs.
Ms. Tapia, do you live in a rural area?
Yes.
Do you live in a home?
Yes.
And in the backyard you keep goats?
Yes.
Is it a fenced backyard?
Yes.
How many goats did you have?
I have 2 males, 2 females, and 1 baby.
Is it the 2 females that were injured?
Yeah.
And it is your claim that dogs owned by the defendant injured those 2 goats. Ultimately, they died as a result of the wounds that they had.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz says that the dogs were not hers.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
But she's not responsible for her dogs.
No, she's responsible for her dogs. Your job is to prove to me that your goats were injured by a dog, as opposed to being injured by a coyote or by something else that could walk into your fence.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephanie Carrasco Tapia is suing her neighbor, Eva Cruz, for vet bills and the cost of 2 goats she claims were attacked and killed by Eva's dogs.
Now, how long have the 2 of you been neighbors?
2 years.
Does she live right next door to you?
Not next, but she lives in the corner of my street.
When were your goats injured?
In June 8th of 2020.
Now I'd like to see the proof that you have. First, that they were injured by dogs, and then we'll get to the fact that they were injured by her dogs. So I'd like to see what proof you have.
I had a video which
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Do you have it? I have to see it.
It's over there.
Okay. Is that the video?
Yes, that's correct. You can see the both dogs. It's a shepherd and people.
So this is a gate that you can walk right through. Did I miss something? Did I see either one of those 2 dogs attacking a goat on that video?
No, the video don't show that.
Did I miss something?
But they... No, don't show that, but that's my gate.
No, show them sitting down.
That's my gate. They get into my property, and then you can see, like, walking out of my property.
I see them, but I didn't see them attacking anything.
But I have evidence of that.
Well, show me.
I had
show me. I didn't see... There's no evidence that they attacked just a second.
I had a picture.
Miss Tapia, there's no evidence on that video that the two dogs, whether they were hers or not, attacked anything on your property. And you don't have a fence all around your property. They didn't knock down a fence. They walked through the fence.
Okay, so...
And then I saw one of them sit down, and one of them was sort of coming out. But at no time were these dogs behaving aggressively. Okay, now let me see what proof that you have that the dogs behaved in any way aggressively towards your goats.
Okay, so you can see the time and the date when the dogs get into my property, and that happened in June 8. And I took my goats to a hospital in June 8, the same day
June
like the
8th.
video. Yes.
Okay, but so far I didn't see dogs attacking your goats. I didn't see these two dogs attacking your goats. So I don't care what the hospital said so far. I need proof how your goats were injured.
Judge Judy by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I need proof that your goats were injured by the defendant's dogs. She says they weren't even her dogs, but I need proof that they were injured by any dogs, as opposed to being injured by a coyote or by a jackal or by something else that could walk into your fence. These dogs did not appear aggressive when they walked into your backyard. So I'm asking you, what proof do you have that I can see that proves to me that your goats were injured by a dog?
I don't have the video when they was attacked from her dogs because I don't have cameras.
Well, I don't know that they were,
like
Miss Tapia, I don't know. And if you have no proof that I can rely on that your goats were attacked by her dogs, this video doesn't show that. This video shows actually rather two docile dogs, whether they were hers or whether they weren't hers, whether she just fed them or not. But you didn't see it. And she, I assume, was sleeping also at 3 o'clock.
But
and
she's
the dogs
not-
didn't appear to do any damage.
But she's not responsible for hot dogs, for her dogs.
Responsible for her dogs. Your job is to prove to me that your goats were injured by a dog. I didn't see any evidence in this, and you acknowledge that there's no evidence here to show me any aggressive behavior by those dogs. I don't doubt that your goats were injured. What I'm saying to you is that you have no proof that the defendant is responsible for it, because no proof that they were injured by a dog as opposed to something else. Anything could get into your yard because it really wasn't a totally fenced yard. It was open. Is that the extent of your evidence, that your goats were injured by dogs?
Yeah.
Okay. Then your case is dismissed, Ms. Tapia. Thank you very much. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
My neighbor told me that he saw the dogs frequently.
I mean, there was no proof that the dogs actually attacked her animals.
Walking in the front of my house.
I did see them, but it wasn't her house. It was the neighbor's house.
And his house. And actually, one day...
The pets were not mine. They were rescued. They came to my house. I fed them and gave them water.
Her dogs trying to attack him.
I like animals. So...
yeah, I bring them to the hospital.
I said, bring me a bill and let me know if you need some help. I have friends that...
After.
Yeah, I don't know her, but yes, I don't know where she lives. I never knew her address.
No more goals for now, yeah.
But yes, anyway, I do want to be a good neighbor.
The COVID pandemic caused a lot of things to happen.
Gloom at her cheerleader's school.
You were shut down, and you stopped paying rent because we had COVID.
But this mom
What are you charging her $3,000 for?
won't fall for her stunt.
She didn't pay every single month.
And you stopped paying rent in March because we had COVID. You get where I'm going?
This is Judge Judy. Trisha Bryant is suing Johanna Ramos for unpaid cheerleading competition expenses.
Judge, this is case number 44 on the calendar in the matter of Bryant versus Ramos. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge.
Ms. Bryant, you run a program for young kids, a cheerleading program.
Correct.
And you've been doing that for a long time. It's your claim that the defendant owes you the balance of fees for her 2 daughters. And those fees accrued after COVID struck and the classes
they occurred from...
And I'm reading it. She paid in full for the 18-19 season without issue, so I trusted her. For the 19-20 season, she paid her last payment in February of 2020 and then stopped. That's your sworn statement.
Correct.
So one of her children was in your program in the 18-19 year, and she was fully paid. You were fully paid.
She had a rolling balance of $955 for...
That's not what you said in your complaint, madam. Should have been more careful when you read it and signed it. You said she stopped paying you in February. That is after COVID struck, February of 2020. That's what you state in your sworn complaint.
That was her last payment.
Now, this is the issue. The issue is, does she owe the money? She had a signed contract with you.
Right.
So I have a few questions for you. I want you to explain to me how these competitive classes work. First, I would assume you teach the youngsters, and she has young children, the 2 that were in your program. First, there are lessons, and those are taught in person, historically. Is that correct?
Correct.
And are they taught by you or you and a staff?
We have staff members. We have choreographers come in. We have coaches come in.
Okay, and is this in a studio?
Mm-hmm. It's a gym.
Do you own the gym or rent the gym?
I own the gym. I don't own the property, but I own the tumble shop.
Repeat that for me, please.
I live at Coast Commercial.
And what's your rent?
$3,500 a month.
When was the last time you used the facility?
March 17th, 2020.
When was the last time you paid rent?
March 1st, 2020. I was closed down due to COVID.
I just asked you when was the last time you paid rent?
It was March 1st.
And you stopped paying rent in March to Pacific Coast, is that right?
Correct.
That would be a yes. And when was your lease up?
My lease was actually up in December 2019.
So you were a month-to-month tenant?
For the time being, we had an agreement with Pacific Coast. We were going to relocate to another city due to the area, what it has become. I didn't feel it was safe for children. I was going to rent another facility.
So you stopped paying rent on the facility where you had been holding classes on March 1st, and you did not relocate anywhere?
March 1st was, we were covered through April 1st, and in April 1st, we were going to move to a new facility. But due to COVID, we haven't moved yet.
Did you pay rent in March?
Yes.
From Pacific? That's an easy thing for me to find out from Pacific. You did?
Yes, I did.
Paid $3,500 in March?
Correct.
In April, you did not pay them rent, and you were going to move to another facility.
Correct.
My question to you is, did you move to another facility?
No, because I wasn't able to open with the...
I don't care, no. because we had COVID.
Right.
Possibility for you to perform, just so that you understand, for all the children in your program.
We were holding Zoom
function
classes.
that you were retained to do, which was to have choreographers in a gym at classes. So let's be clear. Because of COVID, you stopped paying rent and stopped having a facility where classes could take place, and you had your classes on Zoom.
Correct.
For the children.
Correct.
Now, after you have the classes for the children, are there competitions?
All the competitions were canceled.
No, that's not my question to you. Historically, when someone signs up over 35 years that you've been running your school, have there been competitions with other cheerleading schools? Oh, yes. And in what months are those cheerleading competitions usually held?
November to the end of April.
And, of course, there were no competitions held in March or April.
We attended one the first week of March.
And after that, the rest of them were canceled.
Correct.
You get where I'm going? The defendant made her last payment to you in February. That's what you say in your complaint. That accurate?
Correct. January 29th.
Right. Can you tell me, Ms. Ramos, why your last payment was January 29th?
I gave her the last payment in February.
Oh, can you show me that the last payment was in February, please?
No, all my payments were made in cash.
Okay. Do you have a receipt?
I don't.
Did your daughters attend any programs in February before everything was shut down?
Yes.
Do you remember how many weeks in February they attended classes?
They did all February. Sometimes the classes were canceled.
Okay, but they did attend, and according to you, you paid her in cash in February.
Yes.
Was she always paid in cash?
Yes.
How much cash was she paid every month?
From May to October, I gave her $300 a month cash. To November and December, I did $200 cash also. January and February, I did $260 in cash for each month, and it was all in cash.
Last year, when your older daughter attended the program, did you also pay her in cash?
Yes.
Do all of your students pay you in cash?
No, ma'am.
But Miss Ramos paid you in cash.
I have credit card receipts that the cards were denied, and so I would ask her to bring cash or check on money order.
I'm just asking you if you were paid in cash.
Yes, Miss Ramos.
The answer is from her, yes. Other people paid in either credit card or a check.
Automatic or
but she paid in cash, and you accepted the cash for the first year. That's according to your sworn statement for the 18-19 year. Okay, Miss Bryant, you do understand that the ravages to business of the COVID pandemic caused a lot of things to happen, including to you, including to Pacific, your landlord, right?
Right.
Because you were shut down and you stopped paying rent. That's what actually happened. And you had a program that provided for in-person lessons, choreographers, according to you, gymnasts, according to you, in a program for little girls. And then there were a series of competitions, which were all part of the program. In-person competitions. That no longer existed, just like your rent to Pacific no longer existed because of COVID.
Correct.
So since you couldn't perform the service that was contracted for by providing in-person lessons with choreographers, according to you,
but she wasn't billed for...
And the competitions that didn't take place.
She wasn't billed for those competitions nor the tuition for those months. The competitions we didn't attend, she wasn't charged.
Well, what are you charging her $3,000 for? According to you, she was paid up, made her last payment in February 2020. That's according...
I have a statement
I'm just telling
that
you...
she gets emailed every month.
No, listen to me. You signed a statement, served with, said she made her last payment in February and she was current for her 18-19 year. She stopped paying in February.
She didn't pay every single month. That was the problem. I have text messages from her that I was supposed to meet her, and she didn't show up.
Well, do you want to tell me what months are you alleging she didn't pay for, month and year?
December. Her payment was January 29th, and then the last one was May 30th.
No,
September 8th.
I'm talking about 2020. You're stuck with 18-19.
Oh, sorry, writing it backwards.
I'm talking about 2020. Your statement is clear. She was up to date. Let's go.
December 7th was her last payment until March 5th. That was her last payment.
March 5th of 2020?
2020 was $200, made via Venmo.
Okay, so in March she made a payment of $200. In February, did she make a payment?
No, her last payment before that was December 7th of $200 in cash. Before that was October, $200 in cash.
Okay, just a second. So your daughters did attend in January and February.
Yes.
But did not attend in March because it was closed. So I'm attributing the March payment to February. So did you or did you not make a payment in January?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you have any proof that you did not make a
statements-
payment in January?
I have the log that gets out by Jackrabbit that states when...
All I want,
signed
I
in.
just want to see
And that she
January.
gets this. I'm giving you January right here. The green are
All
her
I'm interested in
payments.
is January. Just a second. She made
Payment, here's January
December.
right here. There's December.
Listen to me. You're not following me. I'm considering the month of January only. According to you, she made a payment in March 5th, and your school was no longer in existence in March.
Oh, we practiced
So
until March
I am-
17th.
Well, it wasn't in existence in March. And the kids didn't get what they bargained for anyway because they were supposed to have competitions through April. I'm asking you about January. Show me January 2020.
January's right here. She was charged $150 for her monthly tuition. There was no payment made. The last payment was December 7th.
Okay. Just 1 second. She was charged $150 in January and did not make a payment. I see January, transaction fee, transaction payment. So transaction fee was $150, empty transaction payment, which she did not pay in January. Where do you have February? Show me her February payment.
February is tuition, her merchandise.
So she, just a second, so she did not pay in February. 5th, she paid $200. Okay, and in February, her tuition fee was $150.
Correct.
Okay, and the girls did attend in January, correct?
Yes.
Anything else?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Let me finish. I'm a handyman. I can explain you better. I know you do your job. You're a judge. I'm a handyman. I'm the pro here. So we fill the gap.
I have more doors than you have years, Mr. Singh.
Of course you.
That is not the way you install a door.
Trisha Bryant says Johanna Ramos owes for her daughter's cheerleading competition expenses.
Now, you don't owe her anything for 2020 when your girls did not attend the program. She signed a complaint indicating that you were up to date, but you made your last payment in February. You did not actually make a payment in February. You made it in March. But in March, the program became defunct.
Yes.
So I'm ascribing the March payment that you made to February, which means you still owe her the January payment of $150. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I mean, there was a lot of practices and competitions canceled.
November, December, we did 6 competitions from November until February.
We were still paying for them, so.
Online classes were done after March.
I would not do that. They need someone in person.
I'm working with about half of them still.
Yeah, I will find another one.
All parties in the matter of Olivetti versus Singh. Step to the podium, please.
Grace Olivetti is suing handyman Harpinder Singh for the cost of 2 doors plus installation and removal costs. Harpinder is countersuing for unpaid labor.
Mr. Singh, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Thanks.
Miss Olivetti hired you to do work in her house. She hired you to replace 2 doors and to adjust 2 others. You didn't go yourself to do the job. You sent somebody else. Who did you send?
It's my team member, Sunny, and it's 2 times he went there, and 3rd time I will go.
All right, she hired you, you sent somebody else. You came and looked at the doors after your handyman, the other person that you work with, put them in. You realized that it was very poorly done. Would that be fair to say, Mr. Singh? It was poorly done.
Yes, but I fix it.
Well, show me what it looked like after you fixed it.
Yes. So after we installed on March 5th, so she complained that.
Mr. Singh, just show me what you say it fixed.
Fix.
You mean you put that strip in the door that's not flush?
I fill the caulking.
From one side?
Let me finish. I'm a handyman. I can explain you better. I know you do your job. You're a judge. I'm a handyman. I'm the pro here. So we fill the gap.
I have more doors than you have years, Mr. Singh.
Of course you.
That is not the way you install a door.
Okay. So when I went there, she complained to me. I said, okay, I'll come personally and fix it. Because in the first stage, she keeps saying me that door is ruined. You just buy the new door, replace with it. I say, ma'am, just give me one chance to come, have a look, and fix it. If after fixing, if you don't like it, I will replace for you.
You went, and that's what you did.
Okay.
That's what you told me the door looks like after you went there and fixed it.
But after fill the caulkings and fillers, so I asked, ma'am, I fill the cracks. Well, I can do a free painting for you to the doors. She said no. I always respect my customer. I say, okay, if you don't want, I'm not charging you anything right now. I will buy a new door for you and bring it for you. And if you don't paintings, no worries. I bought the doors for her. And then we have an agreement. This is the agreement, we have it. On March 9th, by the text message. So I will reimburse for the door and she will not do any online review or any legal actions. I bought the door for her on April 2nd. Please send me the receipt, invoice, so I can follow through directly with the Home Depot, because I bought the door from the Home Depot. Doors were expensive. $600 for a small businessman. It's very expensive, but still bought it because I want to make my customer happy.
Mr. Singh, if you don't stop talking, I'm just going to say goodbye to you.
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He put in the new doors, and we're 7 months later, and you're using the doors that he put in.
Yes.
Do you have an estimate from another contractor to install new doors?
I have what?
That's either a yes or a no.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Grace Olivetti says handyman Harpinder Singh damaged her home while attempting to replace 2 doors.
Now, you returned the doors that you bought for her,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. That's all I want to know. You returned the new doors that you bought for her because you had made a mess, don't speak, because you had made a mess out of the first job that you did, but you returned those doors. What she's suing you for now are the cost of the doors, which she got rid of and had to replace. How much were the doors?
$136 for both of them.
For both?
Yes.
And how much money did you pay to Mr. Singh?
Per our agreement, I did not pay anything to him yet because they were not satisfactorily
just a second. Forget that. Forget his counterclaim. He did a terrible job, and the 2 doors that he put in had to be replaced. He acknowledged that they had to be replaced because he went and bought 2 new doors because of what his assistant did with those doors. But why are you suing him for $1,467 when it cost you $436 for new doors, and then I assume you had to have somebody else install them?
Well, I still have the doors that he put up, the ones that were ruined, okay, because the agreement was that he was going to purchase 2 new doors from Home Depot, which he did, and I have his receipt that he sent me.
Yeah, but then he returned them. Miss Olivetti.
Exactly. So I still have the damaged doors. I have not purchased new ones yet, pending this.
Just a second, Miss. Just a second. He put in the new doors
and repaired
in
2 doors.
We're now in October. Yeah. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. We're 7 months later.
Yeah.
And you're using the door. An estimate from another contractor to install new doors.
I have what?
That's either a yes or a no.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, do you have an estimate from another contractor to install new doors?
I have what?
That's either a yes or a no.
Not from another contractor, no.
Well, who is going to install the doors for you if not another contractor?
Home Depot.
I tell you what we do. I am entering a provisional judgment for the plaintiff, Mr. Singh, in the amount of $436. When she can produce proof that she has purchased new doors to replace the ones that have now been hanging for 7 months and evidently doing the job.
Yeah, but they look awful.
You didn't pay for them. They look awful. When you buy new doors, you get $436. Thank you very much. We're finished here. Goodbye.
So I have a counter sue for here because I am not finished because a door was not returned.
You did an awful
I bought the doors.
Job.
Let me finish, Judge.
Goodbye.
Please. Well, give me 2 minutes.
Goodbye.
This case is concluded.
Over.
Judge Judy.
When he got incarcerated, I tried to tell him that I didn't really want to be involved with his criminal actions.
Was that the first time you've been incarcerated?
No, I've been incarcerated before.
Next, Judge Judy.
1-star review on Home Advisor that did a terrible job.
The day that they installed the doors, it was just...
We have an agreement. I will buy the door for you and deliver to you, but you will not do going any online review.
My heart just went down and was like, oh, no, please.
I said, okay, no worries. I'm happy with you. Still, you have chance to update the review and I deliver the doors at your door.
The review does stand...
She never update the review until today. She updated the review. I bring the door for her.
Yeah, go with a contractor.
It's the $2,000 question.
What did you do with that money?
Took it to his bank like he instructed me to.
There were no deposits to the bank.
His assistant is afraid of the answer.
When he got incarcerated, I tried to tell him that I didn't really want to be involved with his criminal actions because I wasn't trying to be an accessory or anything else like that.
Was that the first?
Before.
This is Judge Judy. Thomas Brooks is suing his former personal assistant, Guy Harrell, for stealing money from him while he was incarcerated and for filing a false restraining order.
Yeah, this is case number 24 on the calendar in the matter of Brooks versus Harrell. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Mr. Brooks, it is your claim that the defendant who was in your employ somehow scammed you or embezzled you out of money.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant said that he was working for you. He has a counterclaim. He says that you owe him money for wages. I got a few questions. You hired him according to what I've read in your complaint, as an assistant to someone who has some sort of handicap condition. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your handicap condition?
I was bedbound at the time I met Mr. Harold in 2017.
No, just a second. Let's go slowly. You were bedbound.
Yes, ma'am.
In what year?
2017.
Why were you bedbound?
Because I was 525 pounds in a room and board facility.
Was the state awarding you any money, any funds for an assistant?
Negative. No. I had my own money.
From what?
I've had money that I've been saving up, and while I was incarcerated, I had money saved up, and I was living in a room and board.
Saved up?
Accumulated, plus I had money saved in Social Security back pay.
Okay, let's go slowly, Mr. Brooks.
Yes, ma'am.
From many years of Social Security. Now,
And-
you don't look like you're old enough to collect Social Security, so you were on Social Security disability.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting when?
I've been on it for approximately 22 years.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 58 of years.
According to what I read in both the complaint and the answer, you were incarcerated.
Yes, I was.
From when to when? This last time?
February 8th of 2018, I was arrested. I was released on the 15th of December of 2018.
So you were incarcerated for approximately a year.
Approximately a year, 10 months, ma'am.
Was that the first time you've been incarcerated?
No, I've been incarcerated before.
This last time that you were incarcerated, sir, what facility were you at?
Robert Presley Detention Center, Riverside County Sheriff's Department.
Were you in the hospital wing?
Yes, 7th floor medical, in my own cell.
During the time that you were there, you were on a medical unit for the entire 10 months.
Yes, ma'am. I always am.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you there pre-trial or post-conviction?
I was there from the date of arrest to the date of sentence to the date of my release.
So that you were sentenced?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were convicted?
Yes, ma'am.
Convicted. You took a plea?
Yes, a threat and violation of a restraining order.
Was that the first time you were arrested on this restraining order?
Yes.
Immediately prior to this incarceration, when was the immediate time that you were arrested and incarcerated prior to this arrest in February of 2018?
2008, I was arrested at state prison. I went to state prison, released in 2015. I was released on AB 109 due to my medical condition. They placed me in a room board where I was living at the time. I'm Mr. Harold.
Now, I'm going to give you, sir, unless I'm really interested in this, I would like you to tell me, in as short a period of time as possible, what money you think he took from you and how.
I submitted all the proof to you in your records, the copies of the accounts, the checks that he went and picked up from the bank under my name. He also collected 2 payments from the Superior Court of Riverside in the amount of $500 and $1,500.
$1,000. They're both
$1,500 payment.
Just a second. Don't interrupt him.
$1,500 payment was one. $500 payment was the second. That money was never provided to me either.
What money was that for, this $500 and $1,500?
I filed a small claim action against my former landlord, Wilma, $2,000. I was in jail. Mr. Harold went to the
what?
court. The harassing call, the threat, and the violation
No. Oh, was that against your landlord?
Negative, ma'am. That was a small claims action I filed prior to being arrested against my landlord for violating numerous code violations. I sued her in court. I won the judgment, but I was in jail at the second trial de novo, which she obtained illegally. Mr. Harold went to the court, even though I filed a motion to the court that he did not want to go pick it up. On March 1st and April 2nd, he went to the court, picked up 2
Who filed the motion for you? Who filed the motion for you?
It was done while I was out of custody. Before I got arrested, I filed
Who filed
I did, ma'am.
Personally, not with a lawyer. You personally did.
No lawyers are allowed, no.
What was the name of your landlord?
Wilma.
And what was the name of the victim in the case that the state had against you for violation of a protective order?
That was a person named Sheila.
She was never a landlady of yours?
Negative. This was somebody that I had legal action against that works at the court that filed charges against me for violating and harassing.
Oh, no, just a second. This was another person that you filed a small claims court action against.
Court reporter. Does not matter. I filed a small claims action prior to being...
That I understand. Mm-hmm. What I'm asking you is, I asked you the name of the victim
There's
in
two.
the protective
Sheila.
order.
There's 2.
You said
Sheila.
her name was Sheila. Sheila, was a person that you had a business dealing with, a landlord, but not a social friend?
Negative.
She's a court reporter, ma'am, that he was suing because she didn't get him documents in time to appeal his eviction from the house with Castellanos.
So Sheila,
court reporter,
made an application for an order of protection because you were threatening or harassing her.
I was suing her.
That was granted.
Correct.
Just a second. That was granted. And then you were incarcerated for almost a year for violating that order of protection.
Well, along with other charges.
Just getting...
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. But the landlady against whom you were successful in getting a judgment for $2,000 was the subject of that case where Sheila allegedly didn't get the minutes in time so that you could appeal. Am I getting that right?
No, that was a separate case, Your Honor. This was his illegal detainer case. Yeah, the legal detainer case is the case that she was the court reporter for, and because she didn't give him the report, yes, he couldn't appeal his case, therefore he was evicted.
When I was evicted, I took legal action against me.
And the person who evicted him was the person against whom he got this $2,000 judgment? Or
Correct.
was that another eviction?
That was the only eviction that I was involved in.
That was the only one?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you were working for him. Did you have an hourly wage or did you do just
It was just a
per job?
A per task, right. Per task, I would get paid approximately $200 to $300 per task, whether it was filing paperwork for him or actually appearing on his behalf in court. Those were always like $300 to cover for the time and the travel.
How many times did you appear in court for him?
I lost track. Over approximately half to a dozen times. Most of the time it was just small claims. When he got incarcerated, that's when I tried to tell him that I didn't really want to be involved with his criminal actions because I wasn't trying to be an accessory or anything else like that. So that's where we're at.
Now, did you get from the court $2,000,
Correct.
$500,
$1,000.
$1,500?
There's $1,000 payments in 2 installments.
$1,500 and one for $500.
Your Honor, I received the checks, and I was there at the hearing when they issued the amounts for the check.
And they were
$1,000 each.
$2,000.
Correct.
Now, on what date did you get that $2,000 check?
March 1st, I believe.
3/1 of this year?
Of 19?
18.
18.
Don't ask him.
I don't remember, Your
Don't
Honor.
ask.
So 18. March 1st.
Was he incarcerated at the time?
Yes, he was.
So it had to be March of 18.
Yes.
So that's $1,000.
Correct.
And when was the second check that you got?
April 2nd.
Of 18.
Correct.
What did you do with that money?
I took it to his bank. I took the checks to his bank like he instructed me to. That's all I ever did when he had money that he needed deposited was I took it to the bank and they handle it.
And you made a deposit in his name?
I just gave it to the clerk. I don't physically do any deposits. I just give them. He already arranges it.
Well, you have to. You can't just hand them. Just a second.
Go ahead.
You can't just walk into a bank and hand them a check. There are little cubby holes.
Yeah.
You take out a slip.
I understand.
Or you have a slip already prepared.
He had
and
the
you
bank
hand
do that.
and they make a deposit. What?
He had the bank do that prior to my arrival. They handled all that stuff for him.
What's the name of the bank that handled this stuff for
Well,
him?
it's no longer in business because he sued them, and I guess they folded up shop. That's the best that I can determine.
What bank? What is the name of the bank?
I don't know the name. It's out
What
of
was the
business.
name of your bank, sir?
My bank was First National Bank of Southern California, ma'am.
And he sued them
Did you sue them?
Of course. Yes, ma'am.
Shh.
I'm sorry. No, ma'am.
Did you sue them over this money?
I sued the tellers, but the thing is, there was no deposits made to my account at all.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes, ma'am.
in what year did you sue the bank?
It's still ongoing, ma'am. They're getting an attorney.
It's ongoing?
Yes, ma'am. See, they tried to get restraining orders
And
against
that,
me.
just a second, that case against the bank is still ongoing.
It's not
Is
against
that
the
what you
bank,
just
ma'am.
said to
It's
me?
against the bank employees, a couple of bank employees that were violating the credit union or policies. But they're trying to get a restraining order to this day. It's still ongoing on that.
Did it have anything to do with these
Negative.
deposits?
No, nothing at all, ma'am. There were no deposits to the bank.
I don't know that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As of September 2019, which is after you were released, he's still asking you for payment.
I don't owe him no money. I have proof.
I didn't ask you whether you were owing him
Okay.
anything, sir.
Thomas Brooks says his former personal assistant, Guy Harrell, stole settlement money from him while he was in jail. Guy is countersuing for unpaid wages.
Now, Mr. Brooks, how many lawsuits have you filed within the last 3 years?
Total of 5 in 2 counties.
Years.
Yes, ma'am.
In the last 8 years, how many lawsuits have you filed?
I can't even answer that, to be honest with you. I've had different types of suits.
Shh. I'm just asking you, in the last 8 years.
I can't
You
tell you
just told
that.
me in the last 3, one of which you were incarcerated. So in 2 years, you filed 5 lawsuits. Prior to being incarcerated, for the immediate 5 years before you were incarcerated, how many lawsuits did you file?
I can't tell you that, honestly. I could say probably in the last 5 years, 4 years since I've been out of custody, maybe 5 or 6, to be honest with you. I can't really remember. I don't keep track of that.
I said prior to you going to jail.
Probably
4
to 5, ma'am. I don't have the exact amount.
Mr. Harrell, you started to do work for him in 2017?
Correct, January.
Prior to that, do you know how many lawsuits Mr. Brooks had filed?
No clue whatsoever. I didn't even know anything about his legal issues until 2018 when he...
Well, I'd like to know how you met him.
I worked for a cab company known as AA and then Empire Cab, which they're still in business, but they mostly do non-emergency medical transport now. I got a random call from a customer, which was turned out to be Mr. Brooks. I want to say it was approximately around the 10th of January, 2017, in the years while taking him from other drivers. But his first call was come to his house. He handed me his debit card.
Okay, I got it. That's how you became involved with him.
Correct.
Now, how many times did you make deposits in his account?
Less than half a dozen.
And he got out of jail in December of 2019.
18,
Or 2018. When, for the first time, did Mr. Brooks accuse you of taking money
Never.
from him?
Never. Not until he tried to serve me, I guess, in March, but I never looked at the paperwork.
March of 2020?
I believe so.
Or March of 2020. Mr. Brooks.
Yes.
You got out of jail almost 2 years ago. When, for the first time, did you ask Mr. Harrell for an accounting of any of this money?
I've always...
Never.
Can he answer? He has never given me a receipt. I've asked for an accounting numerous times. I've also requested the county of Riverside to get an accounting. He will not give receipts for nothing to nobody. He tells people what they need. I give him my debit card for whatever service he asks for. And he swipes the card and he puts in my PIN and my code.
All right. Mr. Brooks, when you got out of jail in December of 2018, did you continue to use Mr.
Take me back to my room and board.
So is what you're telling me you have not seen Mr. Harrell from the time you went to jail until today?
No, I did not say that. I said I've not used the service. I have called him numerous times. He hangs up on me or tries to block my number. So I have asked him numerous times for receipts or accounting and the money.
No, I'm not asking you receipt or accounting, Mr. Brooks. I'm not asking you receipt or accounting. What I'm asking you is whether Mr. Harrell has done any work for you, any of these small jobs,
Negative.
Since you got out of jail.
Nothing. He refuses.
Is that correct, Mr. Harrell?
Absolutely incorrect.
Well, when was the last time you did a job for Mr. Brooks?
The last correspondence officially that I have with him, where I'm actually still doing stuff for him, which was basically just doing either court documents, like affidavits for him, or actually showing up in court. The last refusal that I have...
show me.
Okay. The last refusal that I have for him in an email...
All I want you to do is show me some evidence, Mr. Harrell, that Mr. Brooks, who is clearly litigious, has used your services since he's out of jail.
As of September 16, 2019, he's still trying to get me to do services for him when I emphatically tell him. You know, he keeps sending me documents. Okay.
Just
it's
don't
down
say
here,
anything.
Your Honor.
Let me read this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You don't say anywhere that he owes you money.
He does owe me the money he stole from the court judgment and the bank.
I suggest, Mr. Brooks, you find something else to do other than sue people.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Thomas Brooks has accused his former personal assistant, Guy Harrell, of stealing money from him while he was locked up.
Okay, go ahead.
He keeps wanting me to work on his behalf. And I
Wanting
tell him,
to.
Stop. I've already told you to contact me with payment, and then we'll continue to do business after that. But he couldn't get it in his head.
Wanting him to do work is one thing. Doing it is another.
I appeared at least 2 or 3 cases between the time of him being incarcerated and the time that I told him that I'm refusing to do work for lack of payment. And he just continues to send me...
Just a second.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Now, that's September 16th, Your Honor. I have another one from the 23rd. Okay.
I want you to be quiet. I'm reading.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Mr. Harrell wrote to you on September the 16th of 2019. Am I reading this right?
Correct.
I've asked you repeatedly, contact me by mail with a check, nothing else. Stop contacting me.
$500, and I don't owe him nothing. He's made a declaration to the court, and I have the statement showing he's been paid in full. I have his PayPal account screenshot and all the copies of the checks.
So as of at least that date, the 19th, he has something else to show me. As of September 2019, which is after you were released, he's still asking you for payment. He's asking you for a check.
I don't owe him no money. I have proof.
I didn't ask you whether you were owing him anything, sir.
He's asking for money.
I said he was still asking you for a check.
Yes.
Okay, let me see the next time, Mr. Harrell.
This is the emphatic denial from him on September 23rd, where he just listed all the threats and demands for me if I was going to come after him.
You mean that was for your request to him for money?
Just and for him to stop contacting me. And he sent me this long email about all the factors of which he wasn't going to pay me.
Well, Mr. Brooks,
yes.
This communication from you doesn't say anything about him owing you any money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
Now, you're talking in this letter about his claim that you owe him money. You don't say anywhere that he owes you money.
He does owe me the money he stole from the court judgment and the bank. I have the copies of them. I'd like to submit my proof, please.
We're done. We're done. Mr. Harrell.
Yes, Your Honor.
I would suggest you not do any more work for him. Do you understand?
I haven't, Your Honor.
Okay, good. And you haven't, according to this, in 2 years, right?
Approximately
you
since
told him to leave you alone.
June of 2019,
right.
Correct.
So in 2 years, yeah.
Can I show my exhibits,
I suggest,
please?
Mr. Brooks, you find something else to do other than sue people. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
That's fine, no problem.
The counterclaim, Your Honor?
Gone.
Counterclaim?
Gone.
So I'm not going to get paid?
I just answered you.
Okay, all
It's
right.
2 years old. That's correct. Goodbye, both of you. We're done.
This case is concluded. Let's step out.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I just completely walked into the window with trash in my hand and fell back.
He was intoxicated.
You saw him fall.
I did, and he called his mom right away. She told him to sue them. That I heard.
Judge Judy.
He's going to continue on this. He's not going to stop.
No, I'm not. I see what I got coming.
One of his lawyers told me when I first got involved with his criminal cases, I should run from this guy, not walk.
I had harassing phone calls. Yes, that's a misdemeanor.
Got thousands, tens of thousands of dollars from working from this guy.
And he takes $4,000 out of my account when I'm in jail. What else am I supposed to do? Sue.
Who signed the contract with her to book the date?
My ex-husband and I both did.
Divorce kills a catered party.
You are not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign that contract.
Now this ex craves a refund.
It was only signed by your husband.
I don't have the complete contract.
Because it wasn't your contract.
There's a little bit of a story here.
I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
This is Judge Judy. Toby Petrocelli is suing caterer Nancy Veretti for the return of catering fees for a party that never happened.
Judge's case number 106 on the calendar in the matter of Petrocelli versus Veretti. Both parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird. Ms. Petrocelli, I've read your complaint, and so this is a case involving a written contract.
Correct.
And the contract was for the defendant to cater an event that you were planning. You contacted her, according to your complaint, sometime in July of 2019, and your event was to state what kind of an event this was in your complaint. Is there a reason for that?
It was a celebration for birthdays, retirement, and anniversary. It was a combination of events.
Okay. For the same people?
Correct.
Was it to take place at a hall or at your home?
It was to take place at a hall. at a club.
How were you referred to the defendant?
At the time, my husband had procured her information.
You got the information from your husband?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And who signed the contract with her to book the date?
We both did. My ex-husband and I both did, correct.
On what date did you sign the contract?
We signed the contract on July 10th.
And the event was supposed to take place, according to what I've read, on December the 6th.
Correct.
And according to what I've read, you gave her an initial deposit on signing of the contract of $1,500.
That is correct.
With payments to be made periodically. Just a second, I'll get to you in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
With payments to be made periodically until December 6th.
Correct.
On what date and in what amount was the next payment due?
So there's a little bit of a story here.
No, there's no story. This is a contract. I know you want to make it a story. This is a contract.
Okay.
You signed the contract you gave her a $1,500 deposit. Is that not the date the contract was signed?
July 18th.
July 18th.
And it's signed by Mr. Petrocelli.
Put up your copy of the contract. Put up your
Mine?
copy of the contract. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
yours.
thought you were talking to Nancy. I apologize.
I got hers, and it says that your former husband signed it on July 18th, and I'd like to see the copy that you have.
Okay.
Because you say we both signed it.
I apologize. I think I only have the one that he signed. I don't have the one that has my signature on that. I will look for that.
Well, you have to have that. And it was signed on the 18th.
We made the deposit to her on the 10th.
Listen to me. The date of the contract is the 18th, and it was only signed by your husband.
Okay.
Now, we'll nuance this in a second, but my next question would be, if your name was on that contract, on what date was the next payment due? Because that's how these events work. You make an initial deposit, and then you make periodic payments in order to secure the date. Now, on what date, pursuant to this contract that only your husband signed, on what date was the next payment due?
The next payment was made on...
No, I didn't ask you. No.
I'm listening.
On what date was the payment due?
The payment?
Just tell me what date, pursuant to the contract, was the payment due?
I don't have the complete contract. Therefore, I do not know that exact date.
Well, then that's part of your problem, because it wasn't your contract. On what date was the next payment due, Ms. Faharty?
This is an estimate invoice and supports the contract, and it's something
No, listen to me.
Right here.
I asked you a very simple question. I said, on what date was the next payment due?
August 6th.
Contractually, on or before August 6th, the person who signed that contract had to give you what amount of money on August 6th?
$3,500.
And when was the next payment due?
On November 6th.
And in what amount was that payment?
$3,500.
Now we're going to get to your story. So you made a $1,500. Let's say you were the person who did this contract. Then we'll get to the divorce later and whether or not this was the subject of the divorce proceeding. We'll see. I assume you have that information. On August, additional deposit. Now, you understand that these additional deposits also, in that contract, it says the date that you're allowed to cancel. How many days prior to the event, and what were the penalties for cancellation pursuant to the contract, Ms. Faharty?
It states no refunds 90 days before the date of the event, and they canceled December 19th, which is approximately 45 days.
I asked you a simple question. I don't want you to volunteer anything.
Okay.
It was a simple question, and then you'll put it up with a line. On what date did the contract provide they could cancel without forfeiting the money that had been paid so far? On what date? Was it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
90 days.
In the contract.
In the contract.
Let me see.
Okay. So
90 days.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay. Contract, no refunds will be given all days prior to event's original date.
Okay. And that's the contract. That's the refund policy.
Mm-hmm.
On what date did you cancel?
I canceled on Friday, October 16th, when we came back from being out of the country.
Okay, 90 days. However, you made a combined deposit. You sent $8,000, according to you, or your husband sent $8,000.
I did.
Only $3,500 is forfeited because that was paid on August 6th. The other payment wasn't due until November 6th of 2020, Ms. Fajardi. And if she canceled in October, the other payment really wasn't due that she sent you. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, you're reading correctly. However, there was a change in the terms of the contract based on a request for a discount on the event.
No, show me that in writing. Show me that in writing.
Right here.
Show me that in writing.
I say, hi, Toby. Refigure costs for pay in full discount for review. I figured costs to reflect what the savings would be for a pay in full discount. I showed the discount above the sales tax line, reducing the sales tax savings too. No credit card fees for check or cash. Did review foods for discount and amounts. Take a look. I'm available to review by phone or stop by today or tomorrow. On the new estimate dated 8/5 before
show me where she agreed to those terms.
Estimate here. Estimate invoice has to be refigured.
No, I understand. I understand that. Listen to me, Miss Fajardi. Yes. She's not getting anything because she has no standing. She is not a signatory to the contract. She has no standing. Do you understand that, Ms. Petrocelli?
Yes.
You are not a signatory to the contract.
I did sign that contract, so I'm trying. I will locate that for you.
Listen, this is the time that we have all evidence. Mm-hmm. And you came to court. You knew you were coming to court. It's been my experience of over 50 years that when there is a contract, and its contract looks like the contract she just showed to me, there are two lines, one for your name and one for your husband's name. Now, did you have an attorney during your divorce proceedings?
Yes, I did.
Did your husband have an attorney?
Yes, he did.
Was this listed as a potential marital asset?
No, it was not.
Well, that's too bad, because if anybody is owed any money, the person who signed the contract may be owed some money. But for two smart people, when you were divorced, you certainly didn't take care of it. You have no claim to this money, Ms. Petrocelli, or any part of it.
The contract is written out in both of our names?
It may be, but you didn't sign it. Okay. Maybe, but you didn't sign it. And you had dealings with her. Your husband may have benefited from that only he signed. And if the two of you at some point agreed to a discounted fee, if you would pay all cash, so it wouldn't go through a credit card because they charge points.
Correct.
And you did, in fact, do that, and you canceled before the 90 days, then you're not entitled to any money. Then your husband wouldn't be entitled to any money. Certainly you're not entitled to it because you're not a signatory to the contract. Anyway, we're done. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
One would think that as a business owner, she would do the right thing, but it is what it is.
As a small business person, it's been very, very important to stick to our policies and our rules.
When I contacted her initially, she was very upset that we were going to have to cancel.
They're wonderful people. This was a joyous occasion, and we were all just devastated.
Said she'd get the money to me and then just kept stalling. So this is why we ended up here.
Boy, if she wants a party, she's still got one with me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bennett versus Robinson. Step forward.
Giselle Bennett is suing her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, for crashing his car into a retaining wall on her property.
Miss Bennett, you're sleeping.
Yes.
It's August 18th.
Yes.
2012.
Yes.
And you hear a commotion.
Yes.
Wakes you is a result of the defendant's car wrapping itself around your garden and the wall of your garden.
Right.
And you want the defendant to pay for the damage.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, Mr. Robinson, what am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer.
Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
So, what kind of car do we have?
96 Chevrolet Caprice.
And on August 18th, where were you and where was your car?
Well, from my knowledge, the last time I remember my car being in my driveway, parked on a...
Just a second. The last you remember your car, Mr. Robinson, it was on your driveway.
Yes.
And that was when?
August 18th, 17th, the day prior to the incident.
So I want to understand this. You had parked your car on your driveway the night before this happened, and that's the lesson, Mr. Robinson. What am I going to do with you, sir? Let me just refresh your recollection as to what you swore to in your answer. You said, I did park my car in front of plaintiff's home on the evening of August 18th because I was having people over and wanted my guests to park in my driveway. You remember writing that?
Yes.
Well, that's a little different from what you just told me. See, what you just told me, which I repeated to you twice, was that your car was in your driveway, where you parked it. You're the registered owner of that car, correct?
Yes, I am.
And in what city and state do you reside?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, Georgia is one of those states that require cars to have insurance.
Yes.
Not necessarily collision insurance, but it requires you to have liability insurance in case you do damage to someone else's property or person.
Yes.
So if your car, I don't care who's driving the car, if your car causes damage to the plaintiff's property, because you don't deny that her property was damaged,
Yes.
you deny you're responsible.
Exactly.
So if your car was insured, the insurance would have paid for the damage to her property.
Yes.
But your car was not
Insured.
insured to you. In either version of the story, either the one you told me or the one you swore to in your answer, you drove the car. Because the story you told me before, you drove the car and parked it in your driveway. The story that you wrote to me in the answer was you drove the car and parked it in front of her house because you wanted your guests to be able to park in your driveway. Either way, you drove an uninsured car. Why did you do that?
I mean, Your Honor, I know it's silly and basically against the law, but I just moved it because we're neighbors.
I know your neighbors.
We're neighbors. I moved it a couple of feet.
You turned it on, right? You turned it on.
Yes.
Now I want you to think very carefully. Now that we know that one of these versions maybe is true, was the car parked in front of her house or in your driveway?
In front of her house on the street, yes.
And you did that because?
So that I have room for my guests to park and be able to get out when they left my house.
When you parked the car in front of her house, did you leave the keys in the car?
No, ma'am.
Now, the car ended up not in front of her house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He knows he has to pay for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I...
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Giselle Bennett claims her neighbor, Shannon Robinson, crashed his car into a retaining wall on her property. Shannon says he has no idea what happened.
Now, can I see pictures of where the car ended up? You could see from there, right?
Yes.
Did you see who got out of the car?
No, ma'am.
Well, that's a lot of damage, Mr. Robinson, that would have been taken care of, sir, if you had insurance. Now you're going to answer my question that I asked you a little while ago. Why didn't you have insurance?
I believe my insurance had got canceled 2 days before or the day of the party.
Why?
Non-payment.
Well, they don't cancel it without putting you on notice, so they send you a letter. The letter says if you don't pay, you're not going to have insurance.
Yes.
And you just ignore that. Now, do you work, Mr. Robinson?
As of now, I do.
No. Then. On August, listen to me very carefully. August 18th, 2012, were you working?
No, ma'am.
In whose house were you living?
My mother's.
What were you doing in August of 2012?
Applying online, going to job career centers, job fairs.
And how would you get there? Got where I'm going?
Yeah.
You have an estimate to fix this damage. I think I've got Mr. Robinson. He's got me. He's not a bad guy. You know, he didn't murder anybody. He had a party. Somebody got loaded and caused damage. He has to pay for it. He knows he has to pay for it. He wouldn't even argue with me that he doesn't have to pay for it. Isn't that right, Mr. Robinson?
I feel like I don't have to pay for it because I.
Oh, you don't want to go there, Mr. Robinson?
Because
You don't want to go there, sir? I just explained to you that if you had a car that had insurance, your insurance company would have paid for it because it would have been your responsibility.
But then that'd be a case of me not having insurance. We're dealing with the car being in her yard.
You think it flew into her yard?
I didn't do it, man.
It flew?
I didn't do it. When I woke up, on it, my knowledge of...
You don't have to do it. You're responsible for it. It's your car.
So if somebody crashed my car, I'm responsible to pay for that?
Absolutely. That's what you have insurance for.
Yeah, I have a letter from his insurance company that said his second.
Well, that's not the day before. That's not a day before. That would be a month before.
I got that letter. I got that letter 2 days before saying that my insurance...
Oh, well, maybe you were too busy to open your mail.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have an estimate or a bill to fix the damage? You did fix it, did you not?
Yes.
Okay.
One of those pictures shows it being fixed. These are the estimates that I got. One was
Well, how much did it cost you to have it fixed?
$350.
That's a bargain. My goodness, Mr. Robinson, you should go over and give her a big hug and a kiss. She got the best possible price for you, $350. Why didn't you give her money for it? You working now?
Yes, I'm working now.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about a civil suit against me until a week ago.
Well, now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood.
Now you know.
They moved out of the neighborhood. I had no contact with them. I seen the wall was fixed, but I had no contact with them.
We still live in the neighborhood.
But not in the same house?
Yeah, we still live in the same
Same house?
I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen him?
No, ma'am.
Well, you must be busy working.
Yes, ma'am.
$350, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you, that's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. An old RV needed some TLC.
The body itself has not lasted.
Nobody's body lasts. Not yours, certainly not mine.
Next Judge Judy.
She heard all the evidence and found that he indeed was responsible for fixing my wall.
I offered to repair the wall. I offered to pay.
I'm just thankful nobody was hurt.
I mean, I feel something was unjust about it.
For COVID-related reasons, yes, you cannot evict a person.
Made to move in the middle of the virus.
What did you lose your job over?
I lose my job because of COVID.
Did a clever landlord skirt the rules?
You, as a landlord, cannot evict them. And I think that you knew that.
I didn't evict anyone. I put a pay or vacate, which is different from eviction.
Is Judge Judy. Stephen Davis is suing his former tenant, Jade Packer, for unpaid rent and property damage.
Judge, this is case number 129 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Packer. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Davis, you have a rental property. The defendant in December of last year signed a one-year lease. She moved into the apartment, I assume, in December. The rent on the apartment was $999 a month. It was a basement apartment, and she paid you a $999 security deposit. Is all of that correct?
Yes, it is.
She paid rent in January of $999?
Yeah, she paid the rent, plus there is a...
Just answer my question.
Yes.
She paid in January $999.
Plus utilities.
In
yes.
February, she paid you rent of $999.
Right.
What about in March?
March was paid.
She paid you $999.
Yes.
What about in April?
April was paid.
What about in May?
May was paid.
And how many rental properties do you have?
4.
And you are aware of the prohibition against eviction for lack of payment of rent during COVID.
Yes, for COVID-related reasons, yes, you cannot evict a person.
Just a moratorium on eviction for non-payment of rent during COVID.
Right, yes.
That's a yes or a no.
Yes.
And when the defendant called you, because now she's paid up April, May, now we're into June, when she called you and told you that she had lost her job, she had reduced hours, but then she lost her job, what day was that in either May or June?
That she phoned me?
Yes.
I don't have the date of when she called me. I don't have a recollection of that conversation.
Okay. Is what you're telling me she never called you to tell you she wasn't paying June's rent?
That's how I understand it, yes.
So she did not pay you June's rent?
Correct.
And you put a 3-day notice to quit on her door. On what date?
I told her I was going to post that on June 13th. And, no, that was...
June, just a second. When you told her that you were going to post that on June 13th, did she in that conversation tell you that she had lost her job?
No, I have a text chain here that mentions nothing about a job loss.
May I see it?
Sure. So right here you can see where I've highlighted. And
just a second.
Yeah, okay.
Just a sec. Don't highlight anything for me. I rent. If I don't get at least half by 5 p.m. Friday, I will post a 3-day notice to vacate. That gives you 3 business days to either vacate or pay the rent in full. Now, you knew that you weren't permitted to do that.
No, that is not my understanding.
Okay, can we get together this week and make arrangements for you to vacate the apartment? Of course, you can stay, but you need to get current on the rent. Either one needs to happen by the end of the month. I won't make you pay June rent if you get your stuff out by June 30th and clean the place. I won't make you pay June's rent. Well, that you're sending her in June, Mr. Davis, and my understanding is you already had June's rent or enough to cover June's rent by her security.
Well, the security deposit went to...
No. I didn't ask you what it went for. I'm talking about you're gratuitously saying to her, if you get out by June 30th, you won't have to pay June's rent. You and I both know that based upon what you wrote to her, you were keeping June's rent because she was breaking the lease, right? Because you had a year's lease with her and only 6 months were up. And you weren't going to return her security deposit to her because you didn't mention her security deposit.
Right.
So we know that.
Yes.
We know that.
Okay.
Okay. I just, I'm not a landlord. I'm a judge. I don't have rental than one rental unit.
Right.
Understand, because I've been doing this now for 25 years.
Holy crow.
So you weren't being really nice to her by saying, as long as you leave the place neat, I won't charge you for June's rent if you're out by June 30th, because you already had her June's rent in security, which you weren't returning to her. You weren't giving her a free month's rent.
Well, I would have returned the security deposit.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You wouldn't have. I know you wouldn't have. You know you wouldn't have. And what you did by posting a 3-day notice to her for non-payment of rent when she had really faithfully paid her rent for the first 6 months, was the wrong thing. You know that if you took her to court to evict her, you wouldn't have been able to do that. Now I finished with him for a second because he's suing for a whole bunch of unpaid rent and property damage. So he already has your security deposit. You moved out in July.
The first week of July.
What date in July?
I don't remember the exact date. I know it was in the first week because I couldn't get a truck to move all my stuff out. So it was getting prolonged because I didn't have the money since I didn't have a job to get all my stuff out.
Where had you been working?
Northeastern Services.
Until what date were you working there?
I think June 10th.
Did you start to collect unemployment?
No.
Why not?
Because my company said that I didn't lose my job. I lose my job because of COVID. I don't know why they told them that.
So you didn't get unemployment. If you don't get unemployment, that means that you quit your job.
I didn't quit. I did leave my job, but it was for COVID reasons.
Well, explain that to me. So you left your job. You didn't get fired.
I didn't go in because most of our houses were being shut down for COVID because I worked with residential. And so they were getting shut down for COVID, and there was nowhere for me to go. So they were going to try to have me quarantine with the clients for over 2 weeks, and I have a 4-year-old son that I couldn't do it.
Okay, got it. Does your 4-year-old son live with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to show me pictures, Mr. Davis, of what you allege the damage is that the defendant did that was in excess of her security deposit.
Okay. This is the first picture I will show you of a few. This is how the apartment was kept and how it was left.
And how it was left?
Yes.
Is that how you left the apartment, Miss Packer? Is that how you left the apartment?
No,
well,
there
where
was
would he get all that stuff from?
That must have been taken
Where would he
before
get that
I
stuff from?
started, before I actually processed the moving out. Because there was a lot of stuff in my front room, but when I left, there wasn't that much stuff left in the front room.
Well, show me a picture of what was left.
I don't have it. I just was trying to... I had until the 30th, and by the time I got the notice, it was... Because I was house sitting for my best friend, I had about 5 days.
You were house sitting for your friend where?
Downtown Salt Lake. She was in Idaho.
Let me see the other pictures, please, Mr. Davis. Was all of that property left there?
Yes, it was. Would you like more pictures?
I'm talking about your pictures. Was all of that property in those 2 rooms that you're showing me, was all that property left there when she vacated the apartment?
Yes.
Can I see the rest, please? Did you leave the beds there?
Not the bunk bed. The bunk bed wasn't mine. The bed in my room and the
just wanted to...
Okay, sorry.
What is that?
That's a broken sheetrock. The wall was kicked in the kitchen.
How did that happen, Miss Packer?
I was trying to sit
That's
down.
fresh. How did that...
I was trying to sit down, and I hit the wall too hard, and it broke. I didn't kick it in. I was trying to sit down, and I hit it too hard.
Let me see the next one, please. And the next. How many bedrooms are there in this basement apartment?
2.
Any other pictures you want to show me?
Sure. This shows furniture that was left outside of the apartment before she moved out. I kept asking her to remove that, and it remained.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care about that. Now I'd like to see your paid bills to clean up the apartment, please, and to fix the wall.
Sure. Here is the receipt from who did the painting. It's $1,800, and it shows the date on which that was completed.
Next.
This is a paid invoice from did the cleanup and removal of leftover junk in the...
That's $533.
Right, with taxes, yes.
The bills that you show total $2,333. From that, I'm deducting her security deposit.
Well, there's more in
Which
bills
is
here. There's another $500 for the drywall repair, and then there's another $300.
He should have done that with the painting. Next.
Different people.
He should have done that with the painting. Okay. Next.
Okay, well,
Next.
that's the next one. Drywall. Okay, I don't have one for the carpet cleaning, so that's it for the bills.
Okay. Deducting from $2,333, $999, which you have in security deposit, leaving $1,334 for the damage that you caused and the cleanup that clearly is absolutely outrageous. Now, you didn't pay rent for June or July.
Yes. I'm to work. And tomorrow, actually, is when I could finally get a job.
Did you apply for rent relief?
I don't know what that is.
I don't either in your state. Is there a rent relief?
I don't know because I didn't know about eviction court. This is the first time I lived on my own. I don't really know much.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Mr. Nichols.
Yes.
Did you cut all 4 wigs?
I trimmed them. I didn't cut.
She didn't ask for a trim. She didn't ask for anything other than, can you flat iron and curl them? No cut. Why did you cut them?
Stephen Davis says former tenant Jade Packer stopped paying rent and moved out. He also claims Jade left the apartment damaged.
Okay. Now, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Based upon the moratorium, and I haven't seen any prior cases with regard to the eviction moratorium, it's clear to me what I know of it is that if someone no longer is able to work and it is COVID-related, you as a landlord cannot evict them. And I think that you knew that.
I didn't evict anyone.
Yes, you did, sir. You put a 3-day notice. You put a 3-day
eviction.
notice on. I understand, take her to court, sir, because
Right.
they would have thrown you out of court. You understand that. So you were relying on the tactic of saying to her, she says she's never lived on her own before, this was her first apartment, to say, if I put this up on her door, she's going to either get out or pay me. I don't think that you can do that. So I believe that she should have left the apartment in far more reasonable condition, but you're not getting your rent. You're getting $1,334. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's it. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
The defendant owes me money for rent under Utah law.
I don't know if he was able to do what he did to me or not.
I can collect the amount of rent that I lost until
I have no idea. I just know I couldn't pay rent.
the new tenant arrived, which was in September.
And then I had to make a decision for me and my son.
This was not a COVID-related incident.
I lost my job due to COVID.
She just refused to pay.
When he took those pictures, it was before I even got in there, too, because he changed the locks on me before I could even do anything.
And I just don't think it's right for someone to leave an apartment looking like it was Beirut in 1983.
All parties in the matter of Wilson versus Nichols, step to the podium, please.
Teray Wilson is suing salon owner Reginald Nichols for damaging her wigs when he cut them without her
4 wigs and dropped them off at the defendant's home, I assume, to style them. Had he ever styled wigs for you before?
No, actually, he was my hairdresser. He has styled my own natural hair.
So when you bought these wigs, did you contact him to see whether he worked on wigs as well as natural hair?
Yes, I know for a fact I've seen him do wigs and sew-ins and glue-ins, so I know his history of doing wigs.
Okay, and from what you saw, his services were satisfactory?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I sent her a picture of them when they were ready.
He sent me a picture, and this is what he said. He said, the divas are ready, and I said laugh out loud because he called them divas.
When for the first time did you question him about why he cut them?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Teray Wilson is suing salon owner Reginald Nichols for damaging her wigs when he cut them without her permission.
On what date did you purchase these 4 wigs?
April 29th, May 8th, and May 22nd.
Did you buy them online?
No, ma'am.
Where did you buy them?
There's a young lady in Sacramento. Her name is Tashik, out of Raw Peruvian Hair.
Do you have the receipt for payment for
Yes,
the 4
ma'am.
wigs?
I have my bank statement because the way I pay her is through Zelle.
Okay. And how much were the 4 wigs that you purchased from her?
$375 a piece.
So they were $14.90.
Yes.
The last one that you purchased from her was on May 22nd. And you dropped all 4 of them off at the defendant's shop or home?
His residence, because he wasn't able to work in his shop because of the COVID.
On what date?
That was on July 17th.
Had anyone else styled the wigs before? You started buying them in April, then you bought some in May. Had anyone styled them other than the defendant?
No, just the young lady that custom made them for me. She's the only one that has touched them besides the defendant.
Had you worn them between April and the time that you dropped them off?
Each one maybe twice.
And you wore them the way they were?
Yes.
When you contacted the defendant about styling them, what did you tell him that you wanted him to do to the 4 wigs?
I do have a text message, and I call him my hair husband, so I just asked him, could he flat iron and curl? No cut, just flat iron and curl.
May I see the message? You dropped them off.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Did you cut all 4 wigs?
I trimmed them. I didn't cut.
Well, cut, trim, you took a scissor to them.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, you're not allowed to do that. She was very specific. She said to you, hey, husband, if I bring you my wigs, can you curl and flat iron them? No cut, just curl. Why didn't you ask her? She didn't ask for a trim. She didn't ask for anything other than, can you flat iron and curl them? No cut. Why did you cut them? She wants her money back. She said, I wore them. I wore each of them twice. They were different. I wanted them just the way they were when I bought them. And now, because you gave them a trim, they're 4 different wigs. Why wouldn't you call her and say, you said no cut. Do you want me to trim them? You communicate with her. Why would you do that?
I wasn't thinking.
weren't thinking. Okay. So not thinking is going to cost you $14.90, and she paid you $30 to cut them because she didn't see them because of COVID. She didn't come in. You just gave them to her. That's what you say. Is that right?
No, I sent her a picture.
You didn't inspect them at the time that you picked them up.
No, I did not.
Is
I
that
waited
not true?
till I get home.
I sent her a picture of them when they were ready, and then I showed them to her on the head when I gave them to her when she pulled up in the car.
Is that true?
He sent me a... Okay. This is what he said. He said the divas are ready, and I said laugh out loud because he called them divas. So when I got to his home, he brought them outside on a mannequin head, the mannequin heads that I gave him because I didn't know if he had any at home because of the COVID and the COVID that was going on. Mr. Nichols has a mom, an elderly mom at home. I did not want to stay there chit-chatting with him.
Okay, don't tell me the whole story.
Okay.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So you saw them? You saw the photographs the same day that you picked them up?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When for the first time did you question him about why he cut them?
The same day, like 7 minutes after I got home. We lived that close to each other.
Did you text him or call him?
I text him. And I do have the
see
text
it,
messages here as well.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the text messages. Did he answer you?
He did call me, and I was on the Zoom call, and I told him I was going to call him right back for my job. I called him back, and I texted him when I was at work and informed him that I needed to discuss with him the damaged wigs that were done, and he never responded to the text. So at that point, I contacted Small Claims Court and asked them, because I've never done this before, what do I do? And,
got it.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $15.20. Thank you. We're done. Next time, think, Mr. Nichols.
Case concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The dog ingested something.
He was in great pain. It's part of a rubber ball.
Have you ever seen that before?
No.
The dog was in your care.
Judge Judy.
Well, I actually trimmed them and I flat ironed them.
I was highly upset.
One of them was curly when I got it, and when I flat ironed it, it was uneven, so I just evened it.
He did something I asked him not to do.
Because some of them were uneven, and I just wanted to freshen them up.
I cussed my husband out because he introduced me to him, and I cussed him out. I did.
She didn't say she didn't like them when I sent her the picture.
I'm done with them. I'm good. I'm going to donate them to charity. They can have them.
I'm saying that when you flat iron them, you get a different texture.
When I finally...
Yeah, I don't have no animosity against them.
That's my hair husband. I don't have no hard feelings.